10.65 seconds. That's how fast one woman ran the 100 meters at the World Championships after the entire sport had already decided her career was over. No appeal, no excuses, just a positive drug test, an Olympic dream erased in real time, and a country that moved on without her. She's now ranked among the most recognized sprinters on the planet by the sport's own governing body, sitting inside the current top 5 in the world at her event. That kind of ranking, for someone who was erased from an Olympic roster 4 years ago, doesn't happen by accident. We will get to how. But first, you need to understand just how impossible this comeback actually is. Because 10.65 seconds doesn't just mean a fast race. It means running faster than every reigning Olympic champion, not named Florence Griffith Joyner, has ever run in her prime. It means beating the best sprinters on the planet with a body the internet had already written off as finished. And it means doing it at the exact championship, on the exact global stage that had spent 2 years treating her name as a punchline instead of a threat. And Sha'Carri Richardson did it after losing the one shot most athletes only get once. Dallas, Texas. Not the neighborhood NBC cameras usually linger on before a 100-meter final, but it's where a teenager built a body that would eventually run faster than nearly every woman in recorded history. By the time she landed at Louisiana State University, Richardson wasn't a projection or a maybe. At the 2019 NCAA Championships, still a freshman, she ran 10.75 seconds and broke the collegiate 100-meter record outright. 19 years old, already one of the 10 fastest women who had ever lived. That's not a slow build, that's a supernova. She didn't come with the traditional resume of a future Olympic champion. No long amateur circuit, no years of quietly climbing junior rankings while nobody watched. She arrived fast, loud, unmissable, with long nails and colorful hair that she said were inspired by Florence Griffith Joyner, the same FloJo whose records she'd eventually be measured against. That styling wasn't an accident. It was a direct line drawn between herself and the fastest woman who ever lived, before she'd proven she belonged in that conversation. By 2021, she'd gone even faster, 10.72 seconds, the 6th fastest time in history at that point, and the 4th fastest by an American woman ever. She qualified for the Tokyo Olympics by winning the US trials outright, running 10.86 in the final. Every camera in the sport turned toward her. Magazine covers, primetime interviews. This was supposed to be the coronation, a 21-year-old about to become the face of American track and field for a decade. It became the opposite. Understand the weight of what she was walking away from. That wasn't a minor domestic meet. It was the US Olympic trials, the single hardest team to qualify for in world sport, where being the 3rd fastest American on a given day still means staying home. She'd won it outright. She'd beaten every other American sprinter alive on that specific day at that specific pressure, and then watched it get taken away by a rule that had nothing to do with how fast she could run. Here's the part most casual fans remember, but not the way it actually happened. Richardson tested positive for cannabis after her trials win, legal in the state where she competed, banned by the sport's anti-doping code at the time. The result? Her trials win was erased, and she was left off the Tokyo Olympic team entirely. No last-minute appeal saved her. No exception was made for the circumstances. And the circumstances were brutal. A week before that qualifying race, Richardson's biological mother had died. She later said she found out from a reporter asking her about it on live television. Not from a phone call, not from family, not from anyone who cared enough to tell her privately first. She was processing that loss in public, in real time, while also trying to qualify for the biggest meet of her life. What followed the positive test wasn't just a 30-day suspension. It was a verdict from the sport's entire apparatus. Media outlets who ran the story on loop, governing bodies who applied the rule without exception, and casual fans who'd never watched a track meet in their life suddenly weighing in on her character. The message from that entire ecosystem was clear. You are not the story anymore. You are a cautionary tale. Some athletes get second chances quietly. Richardson had to rebuild hers under a spotlight that had already decided the ending. And then comes the part of the story that almost nobody talks about, because it isn't dramatic, it's just relentless. There was no walk-on redemption arc waiting for her, no guaranteed lane. What she had was 2 more years of races most casual fans never watched. Regional meets, indoor circuits, the unglamorous grind of rebuilding a reputation one race at a time while an entire fan base assumed she was finished. She kept training, kept racing at meets with a fraction of the audience of an Olympic final, rebuilding her times and her credibility with nobody guaranteeing either one would matter. In 2023, she said the goal wasn't proving anyone wrong, it was refusing to be her own enemy anymore. That grind never really stopped, even after the medals started coming back. Look at her 2026 season alone. She opened the year traveling to Australia to run the Staywell Gift, a 120-meter handicap race where she started from scratch, conceding a 9-meter head start to the rest of the field and still closed the gap to win. Then it was straight to Diamond League stops in China, where she placed 4th in the 200 meters twice in a row, a result that for most sprinters would be a good day, but for her was treated by the sport's own commentary as a quiet start. Then Florida, teaming up with a training partner to run a world-leading relay split. Then back to LA in June, where she won the 100 meters in 10.99 in front of a home crowd, building toward the Olympics she'd once been erased from. And in the middle of all of that, in January 2026, she was arrested for driving over 100 miles an hour in Florida, a headline that, for a lesser athlete's career, might have reopened every old wound about her judgment. She pleaded not guilty and kept training, kept racing, kept showing up to a sport that has never made it easy for her to just be fast and be left alone. None of this happened in a vacuum either. She's not running against nobody, she's racing a stacked American field every single time she steps on the track. Kayla White, Tamari Davis, Cambria Sturgis, training partner and reigning world champion Melissa Jefferson Wooden. Any one of them beats her on a given day, and the headlines write themselves about decline. She keeps stepping into that pressure anyway, meet after meet, season after season. That detail right there is the whole story. 10.65 seconds. 2 years after being erased from an Olympic roster, she ran 10.65 at the 2023 World Championships in Budapest. Faster than the 10.72 that had made her a 6th fastest ever sensation back in 2021. She didn't just come back, she came back faster than the version of herself the sport had given up on. If you put that 10.65 up against history's greatest 100 meters finals, Olympic finals, World Championship finals, the deepest fields track and field has ever assembled, it holds up against nearly all of them. It's a time that, on the right day, beats Olympic champions in their own prime. Proud, she backed it up too, running a win-legal 10.57 later that same year, a mark that keeps her among the fastest handful of women who have ever raced the distance. Think about what that actually means. The sport didn't just let her back in, she came back and made it look easy. Not back in the sport, not back on the national team, back on top of a world championship podium as champion. Here's the fact that puts this in a different category entirely. Richardson's 2023 world title made her the first American woman to win the 100 meters at the World Championships since 2015. Nearly a decade of American absence from that particular throne ended by the athlete the sport had left for dead 2 years earlier. That is not a small fact. That is a historic fact that changes how this entire story has to be read. By Paris 2024, she'd added an Olympic silver medal in the 100 meters, behind Julian Alfred, who became St. Lucia's first ever Olympic medalist in the process, and Olympic gold as part of Team USA's 4x100 meters relay, run in a time that stood up as faster than the mark her own team had set in the rainy conditions of the Paris final. That relay run came anchored by Richardson herself, the same leg position she's held on winning teams for years. She went from being erased off an Olympic roster in 2021 to anchoring an Olympic gold medal relay team 3 years later at the exact games she was never supposed to see. Here's where we resolve what we promised at the top. The ranking, the recognition, the reason a sport that once tried to write her out of the story now lists her among the very best currently competing. It isn't just the medals. People close to the sport point to something less measurable. She rebuilt herself entirely in public, under a level of scrutiny most athletes never have to survive, and never stopped showing up to race. But the moment that actually shows who she is isn't a medal ceremony. It's a training video she posted to Instagram in May 2026. No polish, just talking straight to camera between clips of a hard workout. She like her best self? She's the only one who can stop her. She said she loves being exactly who she is and wouldn't change that for anyone. And she said something that sounds almost like a mission statement for everything that happened between 2021 and now. That she's more driven than ever to be the best she can be because she wants to be everything she once wished she'd had. Not a press conference, not a list of critics she proved wrong. Just a woman, alone with a camera, saying the quiet part out loud. Los Angeles 2028 is under 2 years away. Richardson will be 28 years old, right in the physical prime window for a sprinter on American soil in the Olympics she was erased from, the last time an American Games mattered this much to her. She's already told the sport exactly what LA means to her, standing on that same LA track in June 2026, ahead of the first ever World Ultimate Athletics Championships. She called it almost a wake-up call for what's coming in 2028, a reminder that you have to work for a moment like that. You have to be there for it. She wasn't speaking hypothetically, she was speaking about a debt she still has to settle with herself. This isn't a hypothetical redemption story anymore. It's a countdown. So here's the question. Does Sha'Carri Richardson finally win individual Olympic gold on home soil in 2028? The one thing 2021 took away from her before she ever got the chance to compete for it. Drop your prediction below. And if you want to see how deep this sport's redemption stories actually go, the next video breaks down the American sprinter nobody expected to make Paris at all, until she did. Subscribe so you don't miss it.